Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and the security editions. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to catch the show live, come join us on over there, and we will have a great time. Of course, we are streaming on multiple different platforms. switchedtolinux.com/live will always tell you when the next live stream is, and that is updated the morning we are doing live streams. So, with that, let's go ahead and get diving on over, see what kind of craziness is going on in our world. And the first up is over from France, I believe. This is, wait, is this France? Yeah, there's so many stories in so many different countries. I'm forgetting them all. We'll figure it out here in a minute. I think it's France. ChatGPT has a big privacy problem. Italy, my apologies, Italy. The other, we have some Sillyville from France. We'll get there. If you're in the oligarchy in France, beware. But Italy's recent ban of OpenAI's generative text tool may be the beginning of ChatGPT's regulatory woes. So ChatGPT in July 2020 was first released. It offered a glimpse into the data used to train large language models. Millions of pages scrapped from the web, Reddit posts. There's accuracy right there. Books and more are used to create the generative text system, according to a technical paper. Scooped up in the data is some of the personal information shared about yourself online, and the data is now getting OpenAI into trouble. So this is boiling down to some of the EU privacy laws, and that ChatGPT was trained on models from individuals. And so what happened is, in an abundance of caution, a lot of players in Europe are kind of looking into this going, this is interesting. But in Italy, they have a temporary ban. This is not a permanent ban. It's a temporary ban while the regulators are looking into, does ChatGPT violate the laws? And so, of course, the Italian job gets on, and I'm going to make you a pizza you can't refuse. Somebody make sure Toss is on today. We need his caddy because we are talking about the Italian job. Europe's GDPR rules which cover the way organizations collect, store, and use personal data. Is involved here. The personal data can be anything from a person's name to their IP address. If it can be used to identify someone, it can count as their personal information. Unlike the patchwork of state-level privacy rules in the United States, GDPR's protections apply if people's information is freely available online. In short, just because someone's information is public does not mean you can vacuum it up and do anything you want with it. This is why I think we need some form of laws here. Unfortunately, the way the legal system in the United States work, it gets written by a whole bunch of companies, and a bunch of garbage ensues from there. Because it's like, if it's all written for the benefit of the company. What we need is a very strong law saying, hey, no third-party company can harvest, package, and sell your data. Unless you want to give me a large cut of it. If you want to give me in 95% of your profits, you keep 5% for packaging up and sell it, I might be okay with that. I could be bought off for a certain price. Anything under 70, though, I don't know. But that's the problem. Now, you can't do that over in the EU. Just like in the United States, we have no expectation of privacy in public, so security cameras pointing on public locations are not a problem in the United States. In EU, they are a problem, unless, of course, you're the government, and we're going to get to that in our next story. All right, so perhaps the most, let's see, Italy believes ChatGPT has 4 problems specifically. OpenAI does not have age controls to stop people under the age of 13 from using the system. It can provide information about people that is inaccurate. People haven't been told that their data was collected. And fourth, they say the most important, there's no legal basis for collecting people's information in the massive swells of data used to train ChatGPT. Of course, we also know that Bard, which is Google's AI, was actually trained off of a lot of data sets from ChatGPT. So we can expect the same out of Google's products, because Google, of course, pushed that internal memo to cram AI into absolutely everything. The heck with the consequences, cram it in, and hopefully Skynet is not born. Yeah, good luck, as we will see in the banned news tonight. So, That basically is what is going on here. ChatGPT has a big privacy problem because it has all this training models from publicly available information, and people did not give consent. All right. So next up, this is over in the UK. If anybody's in the UK, go ahead and let me know here. But live facial recognition, labeled Orwellian, has met police push ahead with its use. This is basically, if you saw the RoboCop 2016, was it 2016? I think that was released, the new remake of RoboCop. One of the few remakes was actually pretty good. In this, one of the components that RoboCop had is this live facial recognition that had access to the database of all warrants. And when he was first introduced to the crowd for the very first time, if you'll remember, that he spotted a wanted criminal within 10 seconds or something like that, 16 seconds, whatever it was. And of course, that was what Samuel L. Jackson's character is all about. 16 seconds is all it took to find him. Where was he at? Standing right in public view in the crowd, right next to 3 police officers. You know, of course, there was the Kovac connection, I think, was trying to push for the mainstreaming of the robots in modern police forcing, based on this type of stuff. And so what UK wants to do is have all of these, because this is outside of Beijing, it has the most cameras per capita, if I remember my details correctly. And so with that, they want to retrofit all of these cameras tying directly into facial recognition databases so they can in live time monitor everybody, and if there's a warrant, just bing, 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 their location, basically turning UK into a giant police state. So, of course, the various organizations that are involved in looking at all this data are saying this is extraordinarily Orwellian, and the police are going, we know, isn't it great? And so they're trying to cram this stuff in. Human rights groups, Liberty, Big Brother Watch, and Amnesty have said the technology is oppressive and turns us into walking ID cards. Yes. The Met Director's Intelligence said the technology would allow officers to be more focused in their approach and tackling crime, including robbery and violence against women and girls. Oh, yes. It's all about the children and the women and the girls. I don't know about all of the ins and outs of the UK law stuff. I know here in the United States, we just have to lock up the criminals and bring back, remember the broken window effect. If there's a small amount of crime that you allow to go off, bigger amounts of crime are going to come naturally. And so with that, people are calling me, and they know I'm streaming right now. So I'll have to call them back later. And so with that, the Met wants to push these out, and the counter watchdog groups are saying, no, this is really bad, and we're not going to go through this. Of course, you can find all of the articles. You can read them for yourself. I encourage you to do those. Those are all linked in the description down below. It takes you to the Switch to Linux page that has all of the articles covered today on it. Next up is a big question. This is from MIT. Of course, remember, MIT is kind of like, hey, we don't care about the effects of society. Excuse me. We don't care about effects of society. What we care about is bringing forth our communist utopia going forth. And so they're talking about high quality data enables medical research. Electronic health records could power breakthroughs and discoveries, but the data requires complex refinement. Here's the big problem I find with all this kind of stuff is that all sorts of these hospitals are just feeding stuff into Google. You don't have any direct consent, and now your medical data is being used for research without your knowledge or consent. And that is a huge thing we need protections over. HIPAA should cover it, but for some whatever reason, it doesn't actually cover it. And so with that being said, they're all pushing out all of the merits of all this. So this, of course, was pushed forth in the koofiness. And as people were like terrified of walking down the street for some unknown reason. And so now they're trying to say, hey, now all these people are putting in, but it actually deals with the 2009 High-Tech Act. So the High-Tech Act was dealing with electronic records, And this provided incentives for healthcare providers who computerized and penalties for those who did not. One of the supporters for this channel who watches regularly was a medical doctor and is no longer a medical doctor, moving to another career because he got sick of the penalties for not doing computerized data because he always thought it was the wrong thing. All right. And so this is a huge problem because you're basically hit with a stick if you do not put all your patients' data into centralized, easily hackable databases, which are then shared with every company under the sun and being used for medical stuff without your knowledge and without your consent. Or you get the carrots if you do it, you get the stick if you don't. And so it's driving nearly every single medical group is now feeding the information in because they're basically forced to at this point in time. Now, of course, MIT here is basically saying, hey, the amounts of data is so large and they're coming from so many different places. It's so complex that we just need better AI here to figure out how to work with all this kind of stuff and get all these going. I'm like, no, that's the last thing we actually really need here. But at the same time, we have lost the ability to push back because we allowed this act to go through 15 years ago when we're back there going, I got nothing to hide. And that's kind of the case for that. So just be aware of that, and maybe something we need to push back on and think of in a society where every computer system is getting breached. Every computer system is getting hacked. AI is making it easier to get into these things, as we're going to see in the security section. But at the same time, this information is not secure. Hospitals are even losing competency. People are like, oh, we can't treat any patients. Our computers are down. Y'all can't treat a patient without a computer? Who's actually doing the competent work here? And so I think this is a big problem. I think it's something we need to push back on. And if it means slower breakthroughs in medical research, so be it. We're not really profiting on it anyway. The more money this goes into medical research and the more the latest and greatest medical research comes out, the more it costs us anyway. So give me some Neosporin and some old Jonas Salk vaccines and I'll be good. See, like that, I fit that in. Jonas Salk vaccines, not modern concoctions. All right, and on to our last article. Tesla workers shared sensitive information recorded by customer cars. I was trying to find the photos, but you just couldn't find them. I mean, it was like, this is the thing we always talked about. It doesn't matter what the privacy policy of the company is. It matters what the culture of the company is. It matters who the employees are. Louis Rossman did a good breakdown of this, also talking a lot about the culture of the company. It's not just the culture of the company as much as it is the individual scruples of the people. As I have told this story many times before, when I did some ed tech work in the education world, I had access to every K through college student, K through 12, and I didn't even do anything related to K through 12. I just had access to all their database. Every student in the United States who was using our system, I could get in there, I could see their name, I could see their birth date, I could see their grades, complete violations of all of the educational laws. All right. All of that stuff was easily available, and I didn't even work in K through 12. I worked in college, so of course I could see all of the information on that, and I wasn't involved in any technical end. I was just a sales guy. All right. So pretty much everybody in the company had access to pretty much everything in there, and that's kind of a huge deal. I, of course, never really went in there and hung around. Oh, let's see. Oh, Bob Smith. Let's see who's in our town. Oh, I know that kid, you know. I never did any of that kind of stuff, but I can't say no one didn't. You know what I mean? And that's really what's going on here at Tesla. So, of course, Tesla cars take tons and tons of cameras. At this point in time, your Tesla cameras are really only on that they'll tell you they're on, or they're only on when you're driving, unless you turn on like Sentry mode. But before they rolled all that out, you'd drive this Tesla into your garage, and the camera's always rolling. And people would go into their garage naked, admire their car, maybe take some, shoot some videos back there, and all the Tesla employees had access to all that kind of stuff. And so what would happen is the employees would be pulling out data, and any of those funny or notable ones, like one data, they actually found a video of a Tesla crashing into a child riding a bike on the street, and they were laughing about that the bike flies this way and the kid flies that way, passing it around, memeing it in the office. I'm sorry, that is screwed up. Of course, they were passing around, hey, maybe guys with Teslas do have small ones. Look at this naked dude in the garage. And so it raised a little bit of a concern as information came out and solid evidence of this came out. Several workers had access to all of these cameras involved in Teslas. You see, this is a two-pronged problem that I have with these electric cars. I am generally, first and foremost, I don't think the electric car is going to save the world. There's other mitigating factors. The big problem I see with electric cars isn't that they're electric, which I agree will have a valid use in some use case scenarios. City cars, people going point A to point B inside of a city, fine. My big problem with electric cars is they cannot seem to separate the electric cars with big data. If you can separate the electric car with big data, and I can have an electric car that is not having a constant internet connection, not constantly wanting to phone home, not constantly wanting over-the-air updates, not constantly recording everything going on inside and outside the car, I would be way more amicable to an electric car. But as it is, since I want nothing to do with big data, I want nothing to do with electric cars because every electric car seems to follow along this model of big data. And that's my big problem with them. But here, of course, the Tesla employees were going around, memeing different images, passing them around, joking about them on their inside their internal Slack channels and stuff. So this guy writes, it was a breach of privacy, to be honest, and I always joked that I would never buy a Tesla after seeing how they treated some of these people, said one former employee. So one of the things they did is in this office where they were supposed to be, the one guy's job was literally to do nothing but look at all the camera feeds to identify things the AI was having a hard time identifying. And so they're doing these, and the people who had the most images or the best overall work were able to drive a Tesla for a day. Many of them didn't want to take it up for the offer because they're sitting here their whole day watching all this stuff going, yeah, and they say, well, you don't know who the person is. Yeah, but you have the location data. And if the car's at the same exact house every single night, you kind of know who it is. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what was going on there with the Teslas. All right, well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have affiliates today. We are highlighting Linode, or maybe is it Economy? Whatever it is these days. So of course, they were purchased. They were purchased by is it Akamai? I don't even know how to pronounce this company. Akamai now. I guess it's Akamai now. Well, our code is still the same. You can use the code there, tlm.li/Linode. Easier to spell, easier to say. Get $100 in credit. Of course, I use these for the restreaming server that we're currently feeding this to 5 different places. Well, maybe 4. I don't know if DLive ever came on board yet. Let's see. Did DLive come on board yet? I don't know. No, apparently DLive. We're streaming to 4 different places because apparently DLive went on break. All right, but this is all hosted on Linode. I also have my VPN over there, and I have hosting clients over there. All sorts of fun stuff over there on Linode. With that, though, let's go ahead and jump on over to security news. We're going to try and push through these pretty quickly because I went way over time on that. All right, first and foremost, in security, of course, it's another day. Guess what that means? It's another WordPress breach. This is going to be really brief, just a public service announcer. If you have access to a WordPress website that has Elementor Pro, update it now. So Elementor Pro, of course, is one of the biggest page builder applications that you can use inside of WordPress. And this has a major vulnerability, 8.8 out of 10 on the vulnerability rating, and basically allows somebody to get in there and take over absolutely everything on your site. And it's basically going back and doing a bunch of nasty stuff. I'll let you read more about it, but just the point, if you have a WordPress website with Elementor Pro, then update that beast. The current versions are good. Let's see if they tell us what the current versions are. Make sure you're running 3.11.7. I've not seen anything about the Elementor free version affected by this, just the Pro version. So if you're running Elementor Pro, make sure you're 3.11.7 or later. Next up, Microsoft OneNote is going to block 120 dangerous file extensions. So, of course, OneNote is being used to send a lot of malicious stuff back and forth. I don't even know specifically what EndNote is. That's how lame I am. I've just been on Linux for so long. I don't use this crap. I use Nextcloud. Thank you very much. Which we do need to update our Nextcloud information on. We'll do that soon. All right, but here are basically what they're doing is they're making several file types considered dangerous, and they're blocking these. So either they're blocking or otherwise giving excessive amount of warnings. PY files. Hey, what could be wrong with sending Python files? PSTs. So no more sending those Photoshop documents. No, is PST, is that a PowerPoint or is that a Photoshop? That's a PowerPoint, isn't it? I don't know what the hell it is. PSTs, whatever. We have XLLs, we have link files, PIO files, VB files, JavaScript files, .coms, .apps, .bats, .printer exports. There you go. So there's just so many in here. They're blocking these all by default. Of course, PDF is not in the list. Yeah, there you go. So basically, they're trying to take a stand blocking a lot of what is the most commonly way to spread malware through side of EndNote. And then, of course, they're going to give you this. Your administrator blocked your ability to open this file type in OneNote. In theory, you should be able to separate it out and open it if you know it's valid. You can do that. But, of course, this is probably a good approach to make sure that some of this is done. Just be aware if you're using this stuff, you might see those changes if you've not already seen them. A new MacOS malware steals sensitive information, including a user's entire keychain database. That's the bad news. The good news is you actually have to be a way beyond incompetent buffoon, probably too incompetent to run a Mac to actually get this. You actually have to download the thing. You have to sideload it. And then you have to run it to actually cause this to happen. And so you're going to be specifically looking for a file that's going to have you download a .dmg file and then allow you to explicitly install it, because side-loaded stuff is possible on Mac. It's just a little harder to do. You have to walk through a few more steps to do it, and then you actually have to open it. So your chances of actually getting hit by this is fairly low if you're a reasonably competent person. But if you stumble your way upon it and you're like, I got to figure out how to open this, and you click the thing, and then I got to figure out how to run it, and then you do a little bit of research, and then you open it up, yeah, they've basically stolen everything from you. So there you have it. They're selling this malware as a service for the low price of $100 and promising more advanced features in the future. Isn't that great? So there you have it. This is going to steal account passwords, browser cookies, stored credit card details in Firefox, Chrome, and Brave, cryptocurrency wallets, keychain database. It's encoded form, base 64, which is... that's archaic. You may as well use that like Caesar cipher to encode your stuff if you're using base 64. Keychain password in text format. That's exciting. Various files. So just going to grab a whole lot of files from you. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's going to steal your MP3 collection. Oh boy. Look at that. So, and then system information in text form. This is the readout report that the bot sends back to the bad guy. Hey, look at this. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff over here. Oh, we got some wallets. We got some photos. We don't trust wallets. No Binance. Crap. We're looking for Binance. All right, so just be aware of that. Don't be sideloading weird, shady stuff that you download into your Mac. This is a fun one. There is the Next brand of smart garage door openers, because everybody needs to put your garage door opener on the open internet. Why? What type of people do this? What type of buffoons are like, hey, I got a grand idea. It's going to be able to tell you if you're driving halfway to the office and you realize your garage door's open, you can do it from home. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. All right. First and foremost, just get yourself into a habit not being so rushed that you can actually watch your garage door opener go down and stay down. Oh, I know. You might want it there in case the package shows up. You can hit the button and open the door for the Amazon delivery guy, and then he'll just go in and steal you blind. Of course. He won't. He probably won't, because he's on such a clock. He doesn't have time for that. He can't even take a pee break. He can't even stop and pee in the bottle of the back. They got to hook some catheter up inside the van, right? The Amazon employee that has a cath, a medical cath, and he can just plug right on into it. He's like, you get a bonus. You don't need to stop to pee, you know? But the hackers can now find these Next smart garage door openers because you put them on the internet and open them up. They've been made aware of this a while ago, and they have declined to fix the problem. They're just like, we got it working. Stack Overflow was great to us. We got our thing working. Now you can do it on the internet. There's no HTTPS. Oh, we couldn't figure that part out. What about the admin password here? Admin and admin for the locked in stuff. Yeah, we couldn't figure out how to change that either. I'm making up those errors, but there were some very specific security vulnerabilities told to them. They simply declined to fix them. So hackers are like, hey, let's do this. So now they can actually find these on the open internet and just start opening them up. So of course, if you're part of some high-tech burglary ring, you can find out where all these are, open the thing up, walk around in the house. You drive your van into their garage while they were away, close the door up, got the whole 5-6 hours, silently go through everything, lock up your whole van, open the thing right back up, drive on out of there. Lock the thing back up behind you. They don't know the difference, you know. So they say it sells easy-to-use products that work with things you already own. That's what the Eufy cameras have said, and it seems to be a recipe for disaster. It turns out that when you have something that is super-duper easy to use with any smartphone out there, it's also easy to hack, because you can't have something like that on the open internet without having those easy-to-hack things. And on to our final story of the day here. Visitors of tax return e-file service may have downloaded malware. So, of course, Intuit is getting slammed in court cases for hiding the e-file return sites, which they were supposed to be able to process returns for free. They got involved in several scandals that was forcing people to pay when they legally by the IRS couldn't. So the IRS kind of had to slap them silly a little bit there. Now it's more available for this. How much you want to bet it's going to find out that the people spreading malware on efile.com is into it? Wouldn't that be hilarious? Intuit's like, you're going to force people to use the other services? Fine, hack that thing, you know? That would be hilarious if that comes out to be true. But the IRS authorized electronic servicing for tax returns, efile.com, has been caught serving a couple malicious JavaScript codes the last few weeks, according to several security researchers, corroborated by Bleeping Computer. Note, this security incident only concerns efile.com and not the IRS's e-file infrastructure and other similar sounding domains. As of the writing, efile.com is clean. Users can access it now without worry. But starting 18 days ago, you would get onto here, you'd get this message here, and let me see if I can zoom this up anymore. Dink. All right, this looks like be as big as I can get. It says, the site can't be reached. The current version of your browser uses an unsupported protocol. Click on the link below to update your browser. And so you click here to update the browser, And when you do that, it's going to download an application. Of course, you install it, and guess what? All sorts of malware starts showing up on your computer. And so that was happening for a few days. So anybody that used efile.com that had that little thing on there, yeah, y'all got malware. And then they stole all your IRS stuff too. And some of you are like, whoo, the scammers can pay all that money I owe in taxes. Of course, the average W-2 person gets their money back. Like, oh my God, I got free money back from the government. No, you didn't. That was just all the government. They were holding all the money the government was holding from you for the whole year without paying you any interest on it. So you want to get your taxes to the point where you're giving them a few $100 or they're giving you a few $100. If you're making a $2,000 tax return, you need to change your W-2s, my friend. So that is our public service announcements regarding efile. Avoid efile.com. Apparently, it's prone to malware. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have a locals page, switchedtolinux.locals.com. You can join us on over there. With that, thanks for watching, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.